Welcome back to the third episode of Pan-Orthodox Roundtable. Today we have with us Father Panayiotis from US. And first of all, let me introduce Father Panayiotis. Father Panayiotis was born in Cyprus and he's received his secondary education in Cyprus. Later he moved to US where he studied chemical engineering in New York City and he received his bachelor degree in engineering. Then he continued his study on a graduate research scholarship at the University of Notre Dame, where he completed his master's degree in chemical engineering. Later, he joined Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology in Boston in August 1984 in order to pursue his theological study. From here, where he graduated 3 years later with the degree Master of Divinity with high distinction. Following that, he enrolled in the early Christian studies program of the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. He was awarded Ph.D. degree in May 1995 with a specialization in the history and theology of early Christian church. The title of his dissertation was A Theological Analysis of Selected Themes and Homilies of St. John Chrysostom on the Epistle of St. Paul to the Romans. It was a great work done by Father Panayiotis. Later, in 1993, he moved to Cyprus, where he continued till 2001. Later, in 2006, he came back to the US and he was a presbyter of Holy Transfiguration Greek Orthodox Church in Marietta, Georgia, US, and still continues to be the presbyter. And finally, he's also the director of one of the famous Orthodox content creating YouTube channel, Trisac & Phillips, and he's doing a great work. And during the pandemic period, we have seen many question answer session was done by Father Panayiotis, and later also we saw Not Here Nor in Jerusalem on a series of videos regarding Cyprus. Today he is with us to discuss the issues, especially focusing on Cyprus and especially on the Trisac & Phillips. First of all, we would like to thank you for accepting our request for the Panayiotis and finding time for our program. And welcome to Pan-Orthodox Roundtable.
Thank you, Abel. Thank you for inviting me.
So, first of all, I think that the introduction that I made is right regarding you. And so I would like to know, what was your change from Cyprus? When did you move from Cyprus to US? And what was the context, especially based on the issues that was developed in Cyprus regarding the problems while the invasion of Turks in Cyprus?
Well, I was there when the invasion happened. I was in high school, and then after the invasion, well, during the invasion, my family was forced out of our homes in the northern part of Cyprus, and we moved to the southern part, and we had really no place to stay for a long time. But I returned to school in Nicosia, where I was a student for 2 more years. And then after I finished the high school that I was in, I went into the military for 2 years and served on the front line. And then from then, I wanted to go study, go to university. Cyprus at that time did not have a university, so after searching where to go, I ended up in New York, where I did my work in New York in chemical engineering. So I'm not sure how much you want me to tell you, but that experience of New York was a very tough one for me. It was a totally different world, especially at that time. New York was a very dangerous place to be. I had no money, I had no family, I was alone. It was very difficult, but with God's help I made it. And then I left New York and went to Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, where I did my master's. And while there, I felt God calling me to the priesthood. And then I left and went to Holy Cross in Boston, where I did my Master of Divinity. So that's really my story. And soon after that, I was ordained while I was doing my Ph.D. And I was married, I was ordained, and then I began my ministry with a small parish in America. And then from there I returned to Cyprus, where I spent 8 years as a priest, and then back again to America. So it's, it's a it's an interesting story, but the interesting things are not so much the movement here and there. It's the change of environment, the change of culture, change of country, of course, the language, and the problems with all of that, and the especially the mentality of people when you live in a different country and you don't really understand them in the beginning, and it takes a long time, and then seeing the culture in America spreading all over the world, the more liberal approach to things, seeing people in America abandoning faith, that really was a shock for me to see. Seeing the high crime in New York when I was there, and the way people lived, and the way people think, and the way people related to each other, scared of each other, really, living in a big city. That was a big shock for me at the beginning, and a big change from where I came from, and the experiences I had before in a more homogeneous society like Cyprus, a smaller society, a Christian society, and very different. And all of those were things that helped me to mature in my pastoral understanding, so that I will eventually be able to serve the people in America and the people in Cyprus, because I brought those experiences during those years into Cyprus and applied them wherever I could in order to be able to help people who were having similar problems, because America is exporting all its problems and all its ideologies and trying to make everybody the same as them. So, so I'm hoping that people will realize that and put a stop to that, because it's not good for anybody.
Thank you, Father. That's really a very good review regarding your life in Cyprus as well as in the US.